Okay, good morning. Well, I think we might be in for another go nowhere day, but there's been some improvement here. I guess that this G20 thing is going to get rolling, and the president's going to talk to the president of China, and we're going to get some news. But I think any real movement's going to come next week. But, last couple of days I've been saying, prices are stuck between these two reference points, and they're not likely to get moving one way or the other unless things can break out or break down, and they haven't done that. As you can see here on the 60-minute chart, just kind of chopping around for the most part, not going nowhere. Weekly up against resistance. We'll see where this day ends, whether we get a bottoming tail bar here or a red bar if things sell off. So it's just been one of those consolidation weeks with little movement daily. Still, the trend is up. It's pulled back to minor support. Some buyers step up there, and a concept here, and someone in the green room mentioned yesterday about, I forget what the stock it was, and this isn't exactly the same kind of pattern, but something had pulled back to support, but the angle at which it pulled back was pretty sharp, meaning almost straight down. Now, this isn't the same, but you can see the wide range bar to the downside. So I just, some of you have what you'd rather happen as far as ideal patterns. Things don't always set up that way as to what you would like to happen based on historical ideal patterns. But what I would like to happen would be for this to come back down and retest this area after a sharp move like this and build a little bit more of a support. And that's a much better launching pad to move up, but we'll see how things go. As far, you've got the hourly here. You can see the little dip, false breakdown, and then the retest and buyers stepped up and just this grinder up into this resistance area. And we'll see if we can get through that. And if prices do, well, then we got, some upside potential here, but we just have to break out of this area. That's the way things are here as far as this week goes. Now, the NASDAQ kind of chopping sideways right up at the top here near this resistance. So I like that better for a short-term move on a breakout to push prices up around into this area. So not anything substantial, but for a day trading opportunity, it's acceptable. The price action is bullish, meaning it can go sideways here at resistance. So the concept of absorbing supply, right? So resistance, by definition, is where there's supply. There were buyers there before, and prices pulled back. Now they're back there, so those buyers get to get their money back, and so they sell supply. And while that's happening, prices pushed back very little. And what we have here is actually, and it's not about a trend line per se, but the buyers are stepping up at higher levels. So you've got this kind of ascending wedge type of a pattern, which is suggestive that it can go higher. But in any event, as we just look at the price action, we can see that it's consolidating at resistance, it's chopping. When it pops up, it fails. But when it tries to go down, it fails. So the spring is getting wound, so to speak. The differential between sellers and buyers is coming together, and somebody's going to win here one way or the other. So based on this rising line, or buyers stepping up at higher levels, rather than coming down to where most of the time they'd be willing to want to buy at what would be considered a safer level, right? The bottom of the range, they're stepping up early. And so now sellers are there, obviously, and we're going to see if this can pop above there shortly, or whether it's going to come back down again. In any event, it's just in a range here, and this just doesn't suggest anything meaningful is going to happen, other than probably day trades as far as these futures go for now. And The Dow, we have a similar story. You know, a lot of the indices here have been moving in a not exactly the same way, but in similar ways. They don't always do that, but lately they are, with slight differences. But they're kind of moving together. As of now, you see this is more like the S&P. It's not up at resistance, so the upside here should be limited. Well, if it comes up there, as always, we'd like to see it chop around a while if we were going to buy a continuation or breakout kind of a pattern, and the upside there isn't all that far anyway. So again, little expectation for any meaningful move here at the moment. Now, the Russell, on the other hand, that had like a great day yesterday, all on its own, and the NASDAQ and the S&Ps couldn't get out of their own way. But overall, the weekly chart isn't anything to suggest anything big. So had a good day, definitely an improvement. We were watching this area of support here to see if it would hold. Obviously, it has. Dan actually shared a story with me today that was in the paper as far as some rebalancing going on. So, I guess that had an effect on what things that are being bought. Maybe he'll expand on that when he speaks. In any event, look at, and this is something else we spoke about in the room yesterday for those of you listening on YouTube, moving averages, what we call a visual aid, and look at how all of these three moving averages are clustered there together. And not that they're support and resistance, but it's to say that, things are coming together, meaning this wide area, this wild move down and back up again, prices are tightening up. And when prices tighten up, and I wouldn't call this exactly tight yet, but they're tightening up. But as they do tighten up, right, let's just say, the ranges, I'm not saying it's going to go down, just start to get tighter and tighter, the same way we looked at the NASDAQ futures getting tighter on the 60-minute chart. It's suggestive that a more meaningful move is getting ready to happen. I use the term the spring getting wound. So in a sense, it's the same kind of thing where, big move, stops, big move up, smaller move down, and then it starts getting tighter to where some trending type of move is likely to happen. So that's a better way to look at it, in that, as the things get tighter, you're more likely to get a trending move versus, these whips up and down. So we'll see how that all unfolds. The transports, we were looking for this to hold, and it dipped down and it came back up. You got a similar situation. Look at the moving averages. They're starting to come together. So this pattern is really suggestive to me that we're not likely to see anything of great significance today either. Probably just more staying within this range of this pivot high and this pivot low, which another day with this will mark it off as a pivot low. So for those of you that aren't aware, this marks automatically when it has three higher low bars to the left and right, or three lower high bars to the left and right. It marks it off as a pivot high and or pivot low. So we'll see, what develops here. But right now the charts are saying, if you're a nimble day trader, have at it. For swing trading, just wait, look for better patterns for things to tighten up. And there are patterns in individual stocks, but as we do here every day, we're just reviewing the broader markets here, because they, for the most part, are going to dictate the trending possibilities in many stocks. But there are things on their own page always, so you just find them through scans or your own personal, just flipping through the charts. Bonds here, just chopping around. They've been doing it all week, consolidating at resistance, which is bullish, waiting for news, as all the other markets are. So I've been saying this all week, the news, we're waiting, and probably next week is where things are going to move one way or the other. So the thing for today is find things that are on their own page, or sit on your hands and, just watch the charts, maybe smaller trades. If you're not a day trader, maybe try your hand at it. with small share size and just, there's nothing wrong with testing things with smart money management, small amounts of money, and just tracking how things are going and keeping notes as to what you're doing there and the different setups and so on. Oil holding up at resistance here. So I'm not so sure yet whether this resistance, so maybe it breaks down, it hasn't been able to, or can it keep going and move up here? So wait and see this kind of pattern, stay away and wait. What I would be looking for as a long would be some type of correction bar. So if today was to dip down under these lows and then spring back up again, that would be the type of continuation pattern to suggest you can come up into this area that we call a void. And so right now it's just inside bars chopping sideways. So the message for me is stay away. Gold correcting here after the great run that it's had. We talked about the fact that it was able to clear multiple year where it hasn't been able to clear that area, that resistance. So very significant move. This today will end the week. So a good ending to a monthly bar in June with a nice wide range breakout bar clearing these highs. So we'll see if this stays up in this area here today, but great monthly chart of a head and shoulders type of a bottom. A pretty, let's say, I don't know the right word here, sophisticated one, lots of lows, however you want to call it. Maybe on a quarterly chart, you would condense it and it would look cleaner. But in any event, chopping down, here's your head, move up, a lot of tests of the lows and now the breakout. So bullish price action. So all suggesting that gold is going to go higher, and it's got the void above, another concept that we look at when we see a pattern like this. The oil ETFs, they had a bit of a correction day yesterday. As oil come up, they've constantly lagged, but so far they're holding up after this move. They are at resistance. So we'll see if they can hold on here. As long as oil holds up there. I mean, if oil starts to drop, some of these may pull back again and make a larger type of a bottom. So we'll see how that all goes. Semiconductors, they're starting to act much better, which is a positive for the market. But you can see the monthly there just chopping sideways, and the weekly, dip down, trying to move back up again. So overall, just a trading range type of situation. See a lot of movers down here. Dan will go over some of them, and a lot of things that I looked at, while up or down, they really weren't breaking out of any support or resistance areas. They were also in trading ranges. But one thing I saw is this beyond just looks like it may be ready to rip the heads off of the shorts here. We'll see. It's not going down, and it's got some room to pop. So it's something that may take off. Anyway, that's it for me. Everybody have a great weekend. Those of you there on YouTube, and think about joining us in the room next week.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Option expiration. And actually, I just sent Greg an article from the journal. It's the Russell rebalancing. And they said, I don't know if it was 100 billion or 180 billion will be rebalanced into the close. So it's, expect a very chaotic last couple of minutes with just crazy swings. And they even mentioned Lyft, Uber, and beyond because, they got to rebalance their portfolios now. Let's look at opens. We start with the weeklies. Boeing, call spread. Lyft, put spread, and we have one that expires today, and we did another one for next week, and that had a fantastic close. It looks higher. It was a little iffy here, not iffy pre-market, but if it can take out the pre-market highs, then it looks like an ad again. big price weight above. GLD, we have a call spread, SMH put spread, NVIDIA put spread, both looking great. And finally, FedEx, we did a put spread on that nice reversal. Swing and options trader, we have a big portfolio. Let me go fairly quickly. Good morning, Debbie, Alex, everyone. A little chewy here over the three little tails there. We sold a put spread. Lyft also, we have two or three open trades in there. AXL, long stock, Intel, covered call, Clack, put spread, Myland, long stock, Pepsi, bull call debit spread, and it held our stop just by a few cents, but you know, that was a breakout failure. We'll just play it out. OAS, long stock, Halliburton, long stock, TUFN, put spread, RPD, covered call, LH, put spread, and it's doing its job. I mean, look at these railroad track 20 and 50. I mean, if you were long the stock, you would have gotten nervous on many days, but as long as we hold support, we're put spreads paying off. Funko, we're long stock. And that's it, a couple more lift trades. A couple left over from yesterday I was watching. AYX. This came from your list, McGraw, you sent me, I like that one. Trox, we found yesterday scanning, big old reverse head and shoulders. That's a good one. AKAM I was watching, maybe for put spread, and this fizzler took off. HCM 2430, that's a nasty gap to this prior low. ADPT, I just saw it going by on the ticker today, and that was an IPO yesterday. I like tracking IPOs. ASML gapping up to 209 and change. I think that's an ADR, the way it's gapping around. So put spread idea. CDW breaking out. McGraw, you gave me that. I like it. I love these range expansion bars. Look at that 15-minute. McGraw. Wow, I got to put this in my 1, 2, 3 file. That was a beautiful. Let me open this up for you. What? Well, you don't have time to answer a quiz, but this is a 1, 2, 3 continuation. Here, I'm going to take a screenshot of that. It's so pretty. Wow, that belongs in my scrapbook. You see that 1, 2, 3? Are you listening, McGraw? This came from you. All right, let's go. But it's a nice breakout. It still looks higher. So that's going on my list. Full, FUL. When I was just looking at yesterday's list and weeding them out, I put this in the Facebook group also, bearish gap down negated. This is a bear gap that bullies. And it's also kind of a reverse head and shoulder on a gap down. Here's our head, left shoulder, right shoulder, and breakout. Look at that, it's beautiful. Well, the left shoulder is, you know, a mess, but as we said in the MT Live, it's the messages. Look, it's a beautiful breakout there. after the gap negated. Zulu Sierra, a short-term trade. Same with Okta, those are both yours, McGraw. SGH, 21 bucks. It's a mess. I think that's earnings. Earnings 46. That's a big old gap, but nothing to do with it now. Camp, 12 bucks, big old gap. JKS is solar. Think of that earnings, but that's a mess. REAL, I think, is a IPO coming out today. FC 33.93. That's gapping all-time highs after big 3-up bars, so nothing to do with that. I got Mighty Mo here on my short list. The bearish 1, 2, 3 triggered already on Wednesday, but we still got 2 bearish bars. And if that can't rally with the market, ATVIs, let's see if we can get a put spread on this, McGraw. There's our GLD. We got a call spread, KHC. I think that earnings, 30.79, nothing to do. STZ, 202, big old gap. Nike had earnings. It's slopping around doing nothing. Miller Herman from yesterday. If we can get a 1, 2, 3, then I like that for Monday. CSX is also a bearish 1, 2, 3. And there's our Boeing we mentioned. We got a call spread, plant. I want to short this on a bounce. A couple IPOs in here, Fiverr, Work, they're all still messy. Crowd. If it doesn't hold here, then it might make another leg lower. Tilray, pot stock, a mess. Cron, Beyond. Remember I mentioned yesterday, this, if you all wanted to short out of the money puts naked. So that's paying off. Michael Jackson, the sector down, CGC. They're all sloppy. Facebook. Now, option expiration day, so I'm going to be looking for credit spreads today. And I don't care if they're bull or bear, just give me a pattern. LDY, it's under 65 bucks. Yeah, you can get a day trade short out of that. And usually our fangs in the liquid ETFs are our go-tos on credit spreads or earning stocks if the spreads are tight. Oh, that's Angie. I can't type. Amazon, it's a mess. Apple's gapping down. I think I had some head designer guys quitting. I don't know if that's the reason why it's down, but now it looks like a call spread candidate. If we can sell the 201s today. Google is still weak. Let's keep an eye on that for a call spread. Like under yesterday's low. If it can't bounce here, like maybe 10, 15 minutes, we can do a call spread. Yesterday's low. Netflix, it's a mess. Tesla is getting tighter. You've heard me say a couple times, this looks like we can trade it either direction next week. So this FUL I mentioned, I like this. This looks like a beautiful day trade long setup. Let's just wait a couple minutes, see what the market wants to do. Wow, the tick opened high over 800. I mean, I know it's going to open high with the market getting up, but That's kind of a big number.